Quote, your dignity can be mocked, abused, compromised, toyed with, lowered, and even bad-mouthed, but it can never be taken from you.
Amen.
You have the power today to reset your boundaries, restore your image, start fresh with renewed values, and rebuild what has happened to you in the past. Shannon Adler said that.
Now, you can say that and sum it up in a few words, but
yes,
that was much more eloquent.
So our next guest in studio, did that make you question your decision to jump into a political race?
Not at
Mr.
all.
Josh Guillory, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We are so excited to meet you. Things will rev up before November comes, and we love to have candidates on before it gets crazy and you have to deal with attack ads and all that stuff, because that's going to happen.
They do that?
Yeah. So we live in Louisiana. And so anyway, we love to kind of have people on before it gets hot and heavy, just to say, who are you? What do you want to do? So you were going to run challenging for Clay Higgins' seat, who's in D.C. now. And I think a lot of people would be surprised when I read your platform. And, and I'll just read a chunk of it here, which is also on your website. I believe it's joshforcongress.com.
It's votejosh2018.com.
Well, see, I got it kind
He's
of.
close.
Votejosh2018.com. All right, so what it says, a respected constitutional and family law attorney from Lafayette and a lifelong Republican, Josh is running to bring common sense, conservative values to Washington. How important are those values to your overall outlook on life?
Oh, they are. I mean, it's not what you say in life, it's what you do. And I get kind of some funny looks when I'm a registered Republican, I'm challenging an incumbent Republican. Why are we doing that? And it all goes back to action, not sound bites. We need solutions. This is a conservative district. Whether you're registered Republican, Democrat, that doesn't really matter these days.
Yeah.
It's all about what's important to us, and do we have a representative that goes and replicates those ideals in Washington?
So the question always comes back to the way politics is working right now. It seems like it just becomes a popularity contest. It's like someone called us an American Idol culture, that we just pick someone who we like that touches on different parts of our emotion, whether the emotion is anger, whether the emotion is happiness. You're a family man, and you're raising 2 kids in this environment as well. Maybe you have more. I just know of 2.
Yeah, I know of 3. I know of 3.
So you have 3. Sorry. So you're raising kids though in this environment.
Sure.
And this is. It may just be your name on the ballot, your name on this card in front of me, but it's a whole family thing. What do they think of all this?
Absolutely, and it is a group deal. It's a package deal,
Yeah.
And the first person I had to convince that this was a great idea was my wife.
Yeah.
God bless her, because that's a hard decision, and it's awesome that she said, yeah, I'm going to support you. It's tough for spouses. It just is.
It
because
really
you
is.
sign up for it, but then unfortunately they, anyway, that's nice that she's like, I'm behind you.
She's on board. So wait till I get her knocking on doors. But she and look, and my wife, her name's Jamie, and she does. Look, I'm appreciative. I couldn't do this or really anything without her. But I'm real proud of her. She's going back to get her master's. She'll finish up this fall and. In counseling, God bless her.
Yes. Well, you might need the counseling, truthfully.
Absolutely.
You might need her services. So some of the things on your priority list: balance the budget, cut spending, reduce government red tape, protect small business, work for farmers and fishermen, infrastructure funding, dredging waterways, and fighting for flood protection. A lot of those are so specific. I mean, they're wide-ranging, but look, we had flooding. We have people that always complain about roads. You kind of talked about action when we first started and not just words. How do you see yourself going there as someone who hasn't been there before and putting your foot down and say, we're going to get some stuff done?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I go back to Tip O'Neill, all politics is local, right? That famous phrase. Mm-hmm. Take infrastructure, for example, the I-10 bridge in Lake Charles. That is not an isolated infrastructure need. That affects Acadiana. Yeah. It affects Mississippi, Alabama. I mean, it's coast to coast I-10. God forbid something happens to that bridge, our interstate commerce will be affected drastically.
Yes.
So there's an urgency.
Well, we've seen it when it happened
South.
when Crowley had to close during the flooding.
Perfect
it caused
example.
A huge issue. Now, Opelousas was happy because they had more cars driving through Opelousas than anything else. But
Major Thibodeau was busy, right?
He was very busy with the red light situation. But yeah, all that is important. You were a member of the armed forces. You've been deployed. how important are veterans' rights, I guess, access to health care? Those are all big topics that have come up. And something, truthfully, that, much in the way as Senator Cassidy can talk about health care because he's a doctor, you can attest to a little bit more. What is your kind of view on all that?
Well, the VA is a mess. I mean, and I'm not the only person running for office to say that, but again, it kind of goes to action. And right now, we do have a congressman that sits on the VA committee, and I have to look back in the last year and have him say, what have we accomplished? Closing out case files, that's part of the job. That comes with the territory. It's my understanding that if we want to put an emphasis on health care for veterans, then put an emphasis on health care, not funding facilities, not funding, a third of our budget, half our budget on maintaining beautiful gardens in a VA hospital. Look, my grandfather's a World War II veteran, died in the VA hospital in 1989 at the age of 66. There's a problem, We can do it. We need to make it a priority. It's kind of like on state politics. If we want education and roads to be a priority, we'd make it a priority. Same thing with veterans benefits.
You're a small business owner, and a lot of times, especially in our area, the small businesses feel like they get overlooked for issues dealing with big corporations, especially legal issues that happen. You have a little bit of both, in what you do. And when you're talking about constitutional and family law, you kind of have to have a deep understanding of both. I mean, how does that experience and, as a small business owner in what you do specifically, how do you bring that to Washington to get some things done?
Well, I'll start with this. It's not the law that keeps me up at night. It's running that business, And so I definitely more than empathize with small business owners. I live it every day. But as a small business owner, sometimes you can't be too. You have to be humble. You can't be too good to go pick up a broom and sweep the floor and throw out the trash and do whatever else. Answer phones if you need to. But that go to work mentality and just get the job done. Don't get caught in the weeds. Don't get caught in the bureaucracy. If to make it analogous to
totally.
Legislation, just find the goal, understand the goal, find ways to get to the goal, and that's what we need to do.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're joined by Josh Guillory. I do want to talk about balancing the budget and especially entitlements because it's something that comes up a lot. What is it? It's such a loaded word, just the word in general. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. Josh Guillory joining us this morning on Acadiana's Morning News, getting to know him ahead of the November election. We are talking to Josh Guillory, running for Congress. The website, votejosh2018.com, if you want to find out more information. You talked about in the last break, about some of the looks you get when other Republicans might say, oh my gosh, like, why would you run against Higgins? Because he's a Republican and he's outspoken. I think you've been pretty clear so far on the show that you're about action and not speaking in sound bites, and that's an important thing to you.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, I have nothing personal against the human, the man, Clay Higgins. I really don't.
And that's big of you to admit that, because a lot of people will never say that, because they worry that, oh, maybe I wasn't too hard, maybe I wasn't against him. There's a difference between politics and how things go and the actual person. We think that all the time.
And we need, our political environment needs objectivity. Look at a person's record, which is fair game. Now, I have a fundamental disagreement with several key votes, in regards to fiscal matters. I disagree wholeheartedly with increasing our federal debt. It's up to approaching $21 trillion. We talk about our children, our grandchildren, our nieces and nephews, cousins. What country do we want to hand to them? Is it a debt-ridden country? I don't. It becomes a national security interest at one time. It's the CBO, I believe, projected, I think in 10 years, our interest rate payments alone will exceed discretionary spending. So when we start talking about infrastructure and how does the debt, what does the debt mean to us here in Acadiana? That's what it means, I disagree with our Congressman, Clay Higgins, on voting to increase our flood insurance premiums. I mean, the floods of 2016, look, whether it was your house, whether it was your neighbor's house, we were all wading through the water. We were all pulling sheetrock. We were all pulling each other together as a community. When you go up there, you have to lead, and leaders lead from the front. They lead with their heart and they lead with their mind, but they lead by example. And that would have been a great time to show, look, I'm a Republican, but I'm going to do what's right because I represent my district, not my party.
Yeah. The issue of what you promise on the campaign trail to what actually happens. Look, we heard even in the presidential race, the debt was one of the things that was really a lightning rod issue about, well, this has happened in the last 8 years. We have to put a change to it. And you're right in pointing out that hasn't changed yet. We have not reversed. Yeah, we haven't reversed course on that as well. When it comes into the actual politics part of it. It's all about who knows you, who is willing to endorse you, who's talking about it. And I hear there's a pretty interesting endorsement that I just heard of for the first time this morning on the horizon.
So did I, by the way. but we're very excited. Rudy Giuliani is endorsing our campaign, endorsing our team. He'll actually be in the area, flying down Louisiana to host an event for me later on this month.
That's big.
I'm humbled by that. You know, we all remember, obviously, 9/11 and what we were doing that day. But, you know, through that tragedy, you know, besides President Bush, but, you know, Mayor Giuliani there, you know, at ground zero, leading us through, leading by example, working with everyone, not just Republicans, working with everyone, because we were Americans that day. You know, when you think of, you know, America's mayor, you know, that's it's for him to believe in my candidacy, believe in our team, and put his name behind that. That means a lot to me. I'll never take it for granted, but that will help us to deliver a strong voice for Louisiana in Congress.
Wow. Well, Josh Guillory, really, really great to meet you. Happy, you know, we have someone from right here. We had it obviously in the last election as well. But it seems like there is definitely some daylight in between you and Congressman Higgins and what's actually being done up there, which is always good to know. Always good information.
Big endorsement. That's big.
Pretty cool. Maybe hopefully we can talk to Giuliani. He's probably going to be interested to talk about anything other than the Trump.
Well, I think
situation.
he's actually coming down to talk to y'all, not me. I mean, secretly, that's what I think it is.
Secretly, okay, yeah.
I mean, it's always great. I mean, it's always great to get that insight. So, all right, Josh Guillory, we appreciate you coming by. It is great.
Thanks
you.
For coming. God bless you. Thank you.
The website is votejosh2018.com, and on Facebook you can search Josh Guillory Congress. You know, we always talk about informed voters, educated voters that just kind of know. I would encourage you to read Josh's platform because, you know, I think I can be perfectly candid with you. What I heard about what you were running against from people who I think were Higgins fans was nothing like what you've told us today. I think people make assumptions. Oh, well, you're going to be the anti-Clay Higgins. And I don't think you're running on an anti-Clay Higgins platform. It's very similar things that he said he wanted to accomplish, and either it hasn't happened yet or it's in the works, or we'll see. Josh Guillory, thanks for coming by.
Thank you for your time.